Thank you for calling the Venue Helpline, the podcast where venues share their biggest frustrations, toughest challenges, and behind-the-scenes headaches. If you run a venue or work at one and you've ever thought, why is this so hard? You're in the right place. Each week, you'll hear practical solutions from vetted experts who've been there, done that, and know what actually works. Because running a venue is hard enough. You shouldn't have to figure it out alone. Now, let me put you on a brief hold for the next available helper.
Hi, this is Paul with Venue Help Desk. What are we tackling today?
Our venue receives a lot of inquiries from mothers planning their daughter's wedding or mothers with daughters who are recently engaged. On the tour, we can tell that our venue is not the daughter's aesthetic, vision, guest count, etc. So it's usually a pass right away. Is there a way to avoid this? We do ask initial inquiry questions, budget, guest count, date, etc., but we always seem to attract mothers who are just information gathering.
This is such a good question because I know a lot of us have been in this exact situation. The mom is super excited. She books the tour, but the daughter, who is ultimately making the decision, walks in and you can immediately feel that this is not her vision. Here's my take on this. You cannot ever avoid this scenario. It's gonna happen. Sometimes moms are just really information gathering or they're trying to steer the ship early to help the daughter. But what you can do is set the tone during your tour and make the most of that time. Here at my family's venue, Madera Estates, when that mother and daughter walk in and I'm having this feeling, we do this for every one of our tours. I think this is really important. That first 10 to 15 minutes with your couple, with your client, you want to get to know them. And so in this scenario, that 10 to 15 minutes is huge. So what happens is they'll walk in, of course we greet, and then I bring them into a private room. And then that's where I really get to know the daughter. So remember, I'm having a lot of communication with the mom, but this is my chance to start talking to the daughter. What I like to do, and I highly suggest this, is ask open-ended questions. The reason I do this is I am information gathering before we get into the physical tour. Your physical tour should always be changing. You should change it up based off of the goals of what you're learning from your couple. So in this case, I like to ask, especially the daughter, tell me more about the vision of your day, or what's most important to you when you picture your wedding. This does two things. This makes the daughter feel seen and heard, which we all love to feel seen and heard. This also helps ease those tensions too between the mom and daughter, because now I am talking to the daughter, not just to the mom. So she's included in the conversation and very important in that conversation. Also, it gives me a chance, again, to tailor my tour around what she's told me. So even if my venue isn't the perfect fit, I'm showing her what's relevant and all of the possibilities. And here's the truth. If the bride isn't happy with the venue, the decision can create a domino effect. She may start questioning other choices. The planning process can be stressful, and it can even lead to tensions with her family or her fiance. Also, more important, it can also lead to tensions with your staff. So really be thinking about those things as you are working with a couple or working with a bride. How is this going to impact the future relationship? We don't want that domino effect of negativity. Nobody wins in this scenario, and it's not the reputation you want for your business. So again, not that like pressure, you must book our venue. You're really listening, getting the daughter on your side, and then tailoring the tour conversation, especially the physical tour conversation, to the goals of her wedding day. That's why I'd rather someone walk away thinking, wow, they really listened and cared about us, than feel pressured into booking a space that doesn't match their vision. It's not going to win for any of us, so why do it? That kind of positive experience, even if it's a big no, can turn into a glowing review or even a referral. What I've noticed during my time in sales at Madera Estates, my couples are around the same age. So that means also their friends, their relatives that are around the bride's age is also looking for a venue. So word on the street, you want your venue to provide a positive tour experience, and that will translate into better referrals for you from those clients that may have said no, but pass that information on to their friends or family. On the front end, I have found that a lot of parents, especially moms that are contacting me about touring the venue, gathering that information, there's two scenarios I see in this. Maybe the mom is doing this because the daughter is in med school or she is in law school and her schedule doesn't allow her to hunt down a venue, ask all those questions that are important. So the mom may be doing this for her. Another scenario that I have with my couples, a large portion of our couples don't even live in the state of Texas. What the parent may be doing is gathering information and to relay that to the son or daughter that is planning on having their wedding in your area because maybe the parents live in that area. So remember, there are those scenarios. Something that helps as well is find out who the decision makers are going to be. If the bride does have time, especially the busy bride, to jump on a phone call so I can go ahead and start learning about her visions, that really saves time for both of us. It already helps me if she comes into town to prepare for her physical tour, or maybe we're still not the right fit before even seeing us. The conversations with your bride, if it's in person in that first 10 to 15 minutes when meeting her, arriving to the venue, or even just those pre-phone calls that you can set up are huge. That's going to really make sure the vision, the fit, is all what the bride is looking for within your venue. Make sure if you have the ability to have those upfront phone calls, those kind of like a pre-screening phone call, do that. That will save you a ton of time in the back end when trying to get her to book or visit your venue in the future. For today, that is all that we have for this episode of the Venue Helpline. Thanks so much for listening. We love helping you tackle these real life frustrations. Before you go, here is one last thing. If you want to keep the conversation going, follow us on Instagram at Venue Help Desk. And hey, if you know someone that needs to hear this, please send them this episode because, again, this is a scenario that you cannot get away from. Thanks again for calling into the Venue Helpline.